All right, let's dive in. Today's news is all over the place, huh?
It really is.
We've got potential banking shakeups.
Mm-hmm.
Trump's at it again with trade.
Yeah,
And then there's this wild health appointment.
definitely a surprise.
Plus, just a little tech and Doge sprinkled in for good measure.
I gotta have that Doge.
You sent over some fascinating stuff. You ready to unpack it all?
Absolutely. It's amazing how all these stories, they seem separate on the surface,
Yeah,
but they're all connected.
right.
Decisions in one area can ripple out and impact, your daily life
Totally.
and the global landscape.
It's like dominoes, but
Yeah.
way more interesting.
Haha, exactly.
So let's start with banking. A former FDIC chair, Bill Isaac, is sounding the alarm about
Oh, yeah.
these potential plans to consolidate banking regulators,
Right.
maybe even folding the FDIC into another agency,
Big changes.
and people are not happy about it.
Well, Isaac's argument is that the FDIC's independence is really key for maintaining depositor confidence.
Okay, break that down for me. What does that actually mean for, everyday people?
So think about it. The FDIC is the agency that steps in when banks fail, right?
Right.
And make sure people don't lose their savings and handle those collapses smoothly.
Okay, so how does that work? And what is deposit insurance really doing?
So every time you put money into a bank account,
Yeah,
a little bit of it goes to the FDIC insurance fund,
okay.
and that creates this safety net.
Uh-huh.
So if your bank goes under, FDIC comes in
Right.
and reimburses you up to, I think it's $250,000 per depositor
Oh, wow.
per insured bank.
So it's basically peace of mind,
Exactly.
knowing that your money is protected, at least to a certain extent.
Exactly. It's peace of mind for everyday people like us.
Yeah, makes sense. So Isaac's suggesting merging the examination workforces, to streamline things,
Mm-hmm.
but keep the FDIC's core responsibilities separate. It's like having a roommate where you share cleaning duties, but keep your finances totally separate.
Exactly. Finding efficiencies, but not compromising that vital role.
Yeah.
And speaking of potential shakeups, we got to talk about the CFPB.
Oh, yeah, the CFPB. That's the one that's supposed to protect us from, predatory lending, right?
Exactly. It came out of the 2008 housing crisis.
Right.
All those disastrous subprime mortgages.
Yeah.
But now, with this new acting head appointed by Musk,
Right.
there's just a lot of uncertainty.
Especially with him temporarily closing headquarters, ordering that work stoppage?
Yeah, I mean,
What does that even mean for consumer protections? Are we, headed for another housing meltdown?
well, it's too early to say for sure.
Yeah,
But it's definitely something to watch, especially with the housing market being so volatile right now.
yeah.
Restructuring the CFPB could impact things like mortgage fees, loan terms,
Right.
overall consumer protections.
Mm.
We even heard from Tyndall Garrison, a credit union CEO,
Oh, okay.
who acknowledges there's a need for CFPB reforms,
Yeah.
but he stresses how important consumer safeguards are.
It's a tough balance, I guess.
It is, for sure.
All right, let's move on from financial doom and gloom for a second.
Sounds good.
Let's get into Trump's trade policies. He's unveiled this reciprocal tariff plan, and, well,
Yeah.
it's raising eyebrows.
He's basically saying, you hit us with a tariff, we hit back with the same tariff.
Sounds simple enough.
But it's not that simple.
It's never that simple with him.
Right,
It's not just about tariffs, is it?
No.
He's expanded the definition to include V taxes.
Right, those value-added taxes.
Which are a big deal in Europe. I mean,
Yeah.
isn't that like saying apples and oranges are the same because they're both fruit?
It's a bold move.
Yeah.
European countries really rely on those V taxes, so including them under this reciprocal tariff plan,
Yeah.
it's a major escalation.
And the timeline just adds to the uncertainty.
It does.
Studies due by April 1st. Implementation could start April 2nd.
So businesses are kind of in limbo,
Yeah.
trying to figure out what to do.
It's a high-stakes game of chicken.
Exactly.
And the market hasn't really reacted strongly yet.
Probably because of that delayed implementation.
Yeah, but the consequences could be huge, right?
It could be.
We're talking potential price hikes for consumers.
Right.
Businesses scrambling to adjust their supply chains.
Mm-hmm.
The overall economy taking a hit.
Yeah, and don't forget about inflation, which is already a problem.
Ugh, yeah. Could this make it even worse?
It's definitely a risk. Tariffs usually lead to higher prices,
Right.
and when you add that to, existing inflationary pressures,
Yeah.
it could spell trouble.
Plus, Trump loves to negotiate.
He does.
So who knows what kind of exemptions or deals are being made behind the scenes.
Yeah, it feels like anything could happen.
Right. It's so unpredictable.
The political element just adds this whole other layer of complexity.
Okay, let's step off the economic roller coaster for a minute.
Okay.
And talk healthcare.
All right.
This one really threw me for a loop. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. confirmed as the head of the Department of Health and Human Services.
Wow.
And it was close. Even Senator McConnell broke from the party line.
Interesting.
So what does this mean for the future of, health policy in America?
Well, it's definitely fascinating, especially when you consider Kennedy's background.
Right.
He's a childhood polio survivor.
Right.
and a vocal advocate on vaccines.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
It sparked both admiration and controversy.
To say the least. His views on vaccines have been unconventional.
For sure.
So how will this impact healthcare companies' policies?
Well, it's possible his leadership could influence vaccine-related policies, research funding.
Right.
He's also got this strong focus on the environment
Yeah.
and its impact on health.
Interesting.
So that could lead to changes in healthcare regulations.
Like what? What are we talking about here?
Think stricter pollution standards for hospitals, for example.
So it's not just about vaccines then, there's this whole environmental angle too.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about the telehealth boom.
Right.
And companies like Hims and Hers making waves with their focus on compounded GLP-1 drugs for weight loss.
Oh yeah, those meds that like combine different ingredients for a personalized treatment?
Exactly. Like a pharmacy smoothie.
Haha! Seriously though, how will Kennedy's appointment impact the telehealth sector?
And the accessibility of these compounded drugs.
Yeah.
It's hard to say for sure,
Yeah.
but his leadership could definitely influence regulations and policies in this area.
Makes sense.
Such a rapidly evolving field.
It is.
And Kennedy's appointment just adds another layer of intrigue.
Speaking of intrigue, Elon Musk met with Indian Prime Minister Modi,
Oh, yeah?
and the rumor mill is buzzing.
What are they cooking up?
Right, Tesla factories in India, SpaceX launching from the Himalayas.
Who knows? It's a power meeting for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, given all of Musk's ventures,
Yeah.
electric vehicles, space exploration, brain-computer interfaces,
Right.
the possibilities are endless.
I can't even keep up with all his projects, and then, just when you thought we covered it all,
What now?
a Dogecoin staffer is now embedded at the IRS.
Wait, seriously?
Examining their operation.
I know, it sounds like a meme.
It
But
does.
it's actually happening.
So someone who's like a Doge enthusiast is now poking around the IRS?
That's the situation.
What does this mean for the future of cryptocurrency?
Well, it's a wild development for sure.
It is.
Raises questions about the government's stance on crypto.
Yeah.
Are they finally starting to take it seriously?
Right.
Are we going to be paying our taxes in Doge?
Haha. Oh man, only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
Okay, that was a lot.
We got through a lot.
But we haven't even gotten to Trump's other pronouncements.
Oh, right.
Russia, Ukraine, defense
It's
spending.
good.
Get ready for another wild ride.
I'm buckled in.
All right, so let's pick up where we left off.
Okay.
Trump's world tour of opinions.
Right.
He's been weighing in on everything.
He has.
And it's creating some serious wave.
Definitely.
So first up, the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
Yeah, Trump actually stated that he believes Putin genuinely wants peace in Ukraine.
Okay.
He's even been trying to broker peace himself, phone calls to both Putin and Zelensky.
Really?
And there's talk of a potential meeting in Saudi Arabia
Wow.
with top Russian and Ukrainian officials.
Wait, peacemaker Trump? I thought he wanted to pull the U.S. out of NATO, like a while back. This sudden urge to mediate seems...
A little out of character.
Yeah.
It's definitely a shift in tone.
Yeah.
And, his critics are already questioning his motives.
But of course.
Regardless of his past stance on NATO,
Right.
a lot of experts do believe that a negotiated settlement is the only way to actually end this conflict.
Right.
It's just a very complex situation.
It is.
Whether Trump's involvement helps or hurts
Yeah.
remains to be seen.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Speaking of complex situations, any updates on the whole TikTok saga?
Well, it seems the deadline for that sale,
To a U.S. buyer, right.
right, to a U.S. buyer might be extended.
Okay.
And despite all the speculation, Elon Musk has said he's not interested in acquiring TikTok.
One less thing for him to worry about.
Exactly.
Well, wait, there's more.
Oh, there's always more.
Trump also hinted at potentially reducing defense spending.
Yeah, that comment didn't go over well with the defense industry.
I bet.
Companies like Lockheed Martin, they saw their stock prices dip.
Wow.
Less defense spending means fewer contracts, potentially even job losses in that sector.
So Trump's trying to make peace in Ukraine,
Right.
but maybe starting a war with defense contractors here at home?
It's a bit ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it highlights how interconnected these issues are.
Right.
One decision in one area
Yeah.
can have unintended consequences in another.
Absolutely. And just to add one more twist,
Of course.
Trump's also said that Russia's expulsion from the G7 was a mistake.
His stance on Russia continues to be a source of debate, controversy, for sure.
Yeah.
Some see it as pragmatic, dealing with a global power. Others view it as appeasement.
It's a tough one.
It is.
Okay, before my head explodes from all this political maneuvering, let's go back to those reciprocal tariffs for a second.
Okay.
They sounded kind of simple at first.
Right, tit for tat.
Yeah, but now I'm thinking they could have some serious consequences.
You're right. It's not just about those direct tariffs.
Right.
When you consider that Trump's broadened the definition to include VAT taxes,
Yeah.
it becomes a much bigger deal.
Especially for European countries, right?
Exactly. They rely so heavily on VD.
So what does this mean for, everyday people?
Right.
Should we be expecting higher prices on imported goods?
It's definitely a possibility.
Ugh,
Tariffs often lead to higher prices.
yeah.
This new plan could impact a lot of different products, cars, electronics, food, clothing.
And what about American businesses?
Right, the ones that rely on imported goods.
Yeah.
This could disrupt supply chains,
Mhm.
make it harder for them to compete.
And then there's the potential for retaliation, right?
Exactly. If the U.S. imposes tariffs,
Yeah.
other countries could respond with their own tariffs.
Right.
It could escalate into a full-on trade war.
It's like economic ping pong, but with
Much higher stakes.
yeah, way higher stakes. And remember those concerns about inflation?
Oh, yeah.
Tariffs could just make that worse, right?
They could. It adds fuel to the fire,
Yeah.
makes it harder for the Fed to control prices.
It's a real dilemma for policymakers then, huh?
It is. They want to protect domestic industries and jobs,
Yeah.
but they also need to keep inflation in check.
It's a tough balancing act.
It really is, and there are no easy answers.
No easy answers. Okay, I'm officially stressed out.
Haha, I hear you.
But let's lighten the mood a bit.
All right.
That Dogecoin staffer at the IRS.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
I
one.
still can't believe it's actually happening.
It's like a sci-fi movie.
It is.
A Doge meme come to
Ooh,
life.
seriously, though, what does this say about the future of cryptocurrency?
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah,
Some think it's just a publicity stunt.
right.
Others think it's a sign of things to come.
I mean, imagine paying our taxes in Doge.
It's both hilarious and terrifying.
It really is.
But it shows how quickly the world is changing.
Yeah.
Cryptocurrency used to be this fringe concept.
Uh-huh.
Now it's going mainstream.
Right.
Even government agencies are taking notice.
Okay, let's shift gears one last time.
All right.
Back to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. at HHS.
Yeah, what a development.
I'm still processing it all.
It's definitely a controversial appointment.
Yeah, it is,
His views on vaccines have sparked heated debate.
to say the least.
His leadership at HHS is going to be under a microscope.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, his stance on vaccines has been, let's say, unorthodox.
Right, but he's also known for his environmental advocacy.
Right, and is focused on the connection between environmental health and human health.
Exactly.
So how's that going to play out at HHS?
Well, it's a good question.
Yeah.
His environmental background could lead to changes in healthcare regulations.
Like what?
More emphasis on things like air and water quality, pollution control,
Okay.
the impact of climate change on public health.
So it's not just about vaccines.
Not at all. There's this whole environmental dimension.
Wow. It's a lot to think about.
It is.
And his appointment shows the growing influence of people with, well, unconventional views.
Shaping national policies.
It's like the political landscape is constantly changing.
It is.
And we just got to be ready for anything.
Exactly. You never know what's coming next.
And what about the healthcare companies, the pharmaceutical industry?
Oh, they're definitely watching this closely.
Yeah.
Kennedy's leadership could change things like drug approval processes, pricing regulations, research funding.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, and it's still early.
Yeah.
But one thing's for sure, healthcare is about to get a lot more interesting.
I think that's a good way to put it. It's like we've covered a whole year of news in like an hour.
I know, right?
From the potential collapse of the FDIC to Dogecoin at the IRS, Trump making peace, Trump starting trade wars. I mean, it's enough to make your head spin.
Definitely a whirlwind of information.
It is.
But hopefully you've come away with, a better understanding of how all these events, they might seem separate,
Right.
but they're actually connected.
Totally.
And how they can impact your life in ways you wouldn't expect.
100%. But it's easy to feel overwhelmed with all this talk about,
Right.
tariffs, trade wars, economic uncertainty.
Yeah.
What does it all mean for like the average person?
That's the big question, isn't
There
it?
it is.
And there's no easy answer.
Right.
But I think it starts with staying informed, asking those critical questions,
Yeah.
not shying away from the complexity.
Right. We can't just like bury our heads in the sand and hope it all goes away.
It's not going to.
Yeah, no, it's not. But where do we even begin? I mean,
Right.
It's not like we all have time to become economists or political analysts.
You don't have to be an
Okay,
expert
good.
to make a difference. Start by understanding how these policies might affect you,
Right.
your life, your community, the industries you care about.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're worried about tariffs, Pay attention to where your stuff comes from.
Right.
Your clothes, your groceries.
Makes sense.
Maybe support businesses that align with your values on trade and sustainability.
It's about those small actions.
It is.
Having that ripple effect.
Right. Using your voice and your choices to shape the world.
Okay. I'm feeling a little bit more empowered now.
Good.
It's so easy to get caught up in, the doom and gloom.
Yeah.
But we have to remember that
we have agency.
Yeah, we can make a difference.
Absolutely.
Even if it's just like starting a conversation with friends or family.
That's a great place to start.
Yeah.
Sharing information and perspectives.
Right.
We learn from each other, work towards solutions together.
I like that. Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We covered a lot today.
We did banking, trade, health, tech, even Doge. It's been quite a ride.
It has. Hopefully you've come away with some new insights.
Yeah.
More curiosity about the world.
Exactly. And remember, this is just the beginning.
Right.
Keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep those brains buzzing.
Stay curious.
Until next time, folks, THC 8.